All right, and
Ready to go?
okay. All right, I think we're ready to go. So, all right, everyone, welcome to another episode of the LAN Party Show. This is our post E3 show. So E3 is winding up today. As of today, it is Wednesday, the 12th today. This episode, however, will not come out until Saturday. So in this episode, we are going to just kind of talk about our overall impressions of this year's E3, kind of talk about some of the highlights, some of the bad stuff, some of the good stuff. To my right, I have Casey. To my left, to my left, to my immediate left is Max, and to his left is Ian.
Hey.
All right, everyone, welcome. How's it going? How are you guys feeling today?
We're doing pretty good.
Doing all right.
Right on. All right, cool. So we're gonna need to figure this.
Mine too far?
I know our mics
can
our
lean in.
our setups are a little weird.
Scooch in a little bit
So
It's a
close,
work in
get up
progress,
close.
but
so E3 2019 is winding down. It's essentially over. All the major conferences, showcases, they have been they've gone through. To start it off, I'll go ahead. I'll hand it over to Casey. Casey, what did you think of E3 this year?
Definitely a lot was shown at least through the Xbox. As I have said before, too many cinematography. I mean, you guys were also saying it earlier. I would have liked more gameplay, but I was kind of looking forward to some of the games coming out. I mean, Bethesda doing Battletoads, which I remember playing as a kid. So I kind of wanted to pick that up. I'm glad that with Kingdom Hearts, they did bring out the DLC in it.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't show any of the DLC, but they did point out one of the questions I did have, which is Zigbar, who are you? And trying to figure out who the rest of Organization 13 is, because you never actually get their
I know Organization,
identities.
I still feel like Organization 13 is still kind of like a weird
Oh yeah, there's still so many unanswered questions
They
in
just
that.
wanted cool people in black trench coats.
Yeah, I know, right?
Wait, so is Battletoads being made by Bethesda or a sub-company of Bethesda?
I'm honestly not sure. I can't really.
I'd be
remember.
surprised
I
if it
think
was
it is a
Bethesda
sub.
directly.
I think it's a sub-company.
It does look
Okay.
pretty cool, right? I also was like,
I liked
Battletoads.
old
I never even played it. And I was like, this looks fun.
It was fucking punishing. Old
Punishing.
Battletoads. Punishing.
So
Contra with toads.
okay, so you have your initial thoughts. All right, Max, what are your initial thoughts? Of
I
E3
got
this-
3 or 4 things that I am gonna need to pre-order, so I'm gonna be out some money. There's a couple
Okay.
things I'm really excited about. Too much mobile game going on. Once again, I really don't like cinematographic trailers. That displeases me. It makes me suspicious of your game if you're not willing to put out gameplay footage in your advertisement. So I'm mid excited,
Okay.
in terms of how I'd rate all of it together. Certain things really shined, and a lot of it was meh.
Yeah. Ian,
So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say I had kind of a similar opinion. I was really impressed by certain things. I was impressed by stuff I didn't think I'd be impressed by, and then kind of my worst expectations were met in some other regards. And I think there was a generalized feel of underwhelmingness because of the large amounts of DLC, which in my mind that's just glorified patches. Don't show a patch at a conference, and then yeah, that kind of there wasn't enough titles that I think that everyone really wanted. I know you guys talked about this too, but it's like some of us were really being like, oh, I really hope they show X or whatever. And I think that everyone got exactly what they were thinking they were going to get. So there was a bit of an underwhelming feel. But overall, I was really excited for quite a few things. So I don't think it was a bad conference or anything like that. I just think that they're probably playing all their cards heavier towards next-gen release, and we're going to see an explosive E3 next time. And this was kind of not quite the same level.
yeah, and it's kind of and now to wrap things up with kind of like my thoughts. I'm in a similar boat there. It's no secret, and I'll be the first to admit that in my personal opinion, that this E3 was very maybe sucked isn't the right word, but it was very underwhelming.
Yeah.
It was it just did not and I honestly I think that as a Sony person, I think it had a lot to do with my company not being there this year.
Lack of PlayStation.
So actually, it's funny. Even though Sony wasn't present at E3, they announced a lot of games this past week. I mean, the thing that I was most excited for was the first English trailer for Persona 5 The Royale. I'm a huge Persona 5 fan. I played it for the first time this year, and in my opinion, it is the perfect game. And so the fact that I got to see an English trailer for Persona 5 The Royale, which comes out in America next year, I was really stoked about that. And that's really, to me, in my opinion, that's really a bummer that I am excited for something that just a trailer for something that, first of all, doesn't come out next year and wasn't even featured at E3. It wasn't even at E3 at all because it is a PlayStation game. Yeah. So with that being said, first of all, we are going to, throughout this episode, we are going to be trickling in videos of each of our own personal independent highlights, pros and cons of E3, and we're going to start it now with Max's.
All right, so I'm going to get into my pros and cons of E3 2019 here. So as for pros, obviously I already said what I'm really excited about is Cyberpunk 2077. I found out the gameplay footage I thought was more recent was older, so I'm hoping it sticks to that standard that I was seeing and keeps all that mechanics in play that I liked. So I don't know how much of that is going to make it into the final product, but I'm really hopeful about what I was seeing there. And then the other thing I'm surprisingly hopeful about is Final Fantasy VII, because I've been dreading that mostly, and I'm still a little worried about this episodic thing. But what I saw of gameplay footage and how they decided to make it both action RPG and potentially turn-based, depending on how you choose to do your play style, I really like. I mean, obviously just taking the story and then writing out things like translation typos and stuff that existed in the original PlayStation 1. I feel like the same story with a little more fleshed out dialogue will be amazing. Let's see, as for cons, really displeased with seeing everybody bring out gaming as a service at the same time. We're seeing everybody's kind of pushing their own brand of stream gaming, which means it could be cool in terms of being able to get games that you couldn't normally get onto mobile devices, and that will be an interesting aspect. But I don't like the idea of the gaming market ending up in that position of like, well, I can't play that one because it would be like, if you don't have Netflix, you can't watch certain shows, and it would be like you'll miss out on certain things because you don't want to pay for that company's entire streaming service in order to get single games, which is kind of the downside of streaming as a service or gaming as a service in this stream format. Is in order to acquire singular games from companies, you'd have to take that company's subscription. Main thing that bugged the hell out of me was the Bethesda conference. They brought out a lot of what I view as just patches and alterations to pre-existing content instead of bringing out new content. And their sub-companies brought out some good stuff that I was excited about. But Bethesda itself was really, I just am very bothered by their marketing tactics. For example, they basically sold an incomplete product in Fallout 76, and they're now rectifying that, but it's not something I would see fit for an E3 conference. You're bringing me the complete version of the game that you already sold to many of us. And that I wasn't into. And then while Todd Howard did say that they got deserved criticism, he then went on to give the company several pats on the back. And then they had us, hear from all these employees of theirs that are telling us how great they are. And I just am not interested in that in the conference. And obviously they're employees, so their opinion is only so trustworthy. And then the whole guy saying, let's put dragons and everything. There was just a lot that bugged the hell out of me with them. Let's see. Other than that, I'm looking forward to new Doom. That's looking really good. I really don't have a whole lot more to add.
All right, and we're back. So, let's kind of like let's just kind of go through some of the conferences and different things that we could just kind of talk about. I know that we're gonna have our own individual videos, but let's talk about let's start with Microsoft. Microsoft is a little for me just because like I haven't been a Microsoft person in a long time. The last, I do have an Xbox One, but I've hardly turned it on. But this was supposed to be a big year for Microsoft, and I feel like I said, their conference was underwhelming. Yeah. The best thing that they did show Cyberpunk, and they did give a release date for Cyberpunk, which is something great. But I know that they talked about the next gen console with the Scarlet, but I think I kind of glossed over that. Did anybody watch stuff on the Scarlet?
I kind of had to. I mean, I am an Xbox One player, so Microsoft is kind of like
resident Xbox One guy.
Yeah. Honestly, like they did show off like 60 plus games. A lot of the games that they were featuring though were games that were going to be coming to Game Pass, which is definitely like something else that has been a constant thing in E3 is the whole streaming aspect, streaming gaming. And so like they brought up about Borderlands 3, they brought that in. They also announced a new DLC for Borderlands 2.
That's out already.
Yeah,
it came out that day.
Yeah, it came out that day. I did download it. I haven't gotten to that part.
There's more Borderlands 2?
Yeah, they
added
more. Shit, I'm going back.
They added Borderlands. It's basically it's supposed to set up Borderlands 3.
Yeah, it's the transition between Borderlands 2 to Borderlands 3.
Just new story.
It's just a new story. I don't know if they have new characters in it. I haven't gone back to it yet. I'm actually like in the process of playing Borderlands 2 with a couple other buddies.
Yeah, no, they didn't add any characters. I think this one is mainly focusing on I can't even remember her name.
It's Commander Lilith.
And focusing on like how everything's going to go into Borderlands 3. So that I'm playing my game. My Borderlands 2 game got erased, so I'm having to start over from scratch.
Oh, no.
And so now I am planning on playing all the way through and trying to get to that DLC so that I can see exactly how Borderlands 3 is going to come up.
I would love if they used that DLC to kind of adjust their end game leveling system, because that got so wonky.
I mean, we'll have to see.
I doubt it.
They didn't really talk more
cumbersome.
about what is going to be in the DLC, just that they have the DLC and what it is for.
When it comes to something like that, you can't just like throw in a new mechanic in a game that's essentially a previous gen game. So
all they would really need to do to fix the OP level 1 through 8 is alter the final level from 72 to 80.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's just like a level cap.
Yeah,
increase.
if they increased the level cap and then just made all the OP equipment levels 1 through 8 just level 73 through 80, it would fix the problem.
Oh, okay. So, what'd you guys think of Microsoft?
You want to go first, Max? Do you want to? Are you kind of talking Borderlands?
I kind of mix up what games everybody was releasing, but Microsoft had Cyberpunk, which is currently the thing I'm most excited for, because I went and watched the full like gameplay trailer, and it just looks really good and immersive. I like the RPG mechanics I saw in play combined with the real-time action looked really good to me. When they're just walking around in the world and everything, when you watch them highlight random individuals, there's like names on each individual telling you what type of AI personality they are, basically, and there's just tons of them. So they have a really diverse world. It's not like GTA where every old lady you run into is the same old lady. It's like that random gen crowd thing is getting so much more advanced these days. The action looked really good. I maybe could go for things taking a few less bullets, but I don't have any major problem with what I was seeing.
Cyberpunk owned it for you, though. That's the Microsoft.
Yeah, in terms of what I saw, that's what I'm most excited for.
Yeah.
Halo, I kind of dropped out a while back.
Halo, yeah. I totally spaced on Halo.
Yeah, maybe they'll bring me back in. It will be
well for me. Halo is just pure nostalgia at this point. It's just kind of like so. I've played all of them. I've played most of them except for 5. I've played kind of like all the main entries except for 5. I haven't played 5 yet.
Played everything to reach, so.
So I think what's great is it doesn't come out until holiday of next year, so I've got plenty of time to play 5. So I probably will do that. But yeah, I guess essentially for Microsoft, it was for me at least, it was Cyberpunk and Halo. But that's just kind of it for me.
Did you check out the gameplay footage on Cyberpunk?
I've seen the gameplay footage from Cyberpunk. Last year they released an hour of gameplay footage.
The Gears thing they came out with is just an update, or would they actually?
I think it's Gears 5.
No, it's Gears 5.
So
Yeah,
I missed a bit of that, and I was gonna say, I did play way too much Gears of War at a certain point in my life. I'm embarrassed about that, but I was kind of curious to see where they'd gone with it, because there was supposed to be a lot of new elements in the Gears of War game, and I thought they had a very fun, albeit repetitious style. If they really expanded that a lot with some of this newer game building, this new sort of world building kind of mechanics, it'd be kind of cool. And then Halo actually kind of caught my eye, only because I have been waiting for them to remake Halo 1, but not remake Halo 1 for such a long time, that I'm always hoping that they do it right again. And that was what's so weird, is like a lot of times the shooter games don't pull me. I find them to be so cookie cutter. But the original Halo, even though there wasn't a great deal going on, it's just every time I play it, I'm always sucked back into that amazing feel that I had the first time. And it sounds so nerdy, but like, oh, look at Halo, but
well, I mean, Halo was
really
revolutionary.
They had an amazing feel, right? And so I would love to see them get that out again. So I was curious about Halo, curious about Gears of War, was curious about the past games. I'm pretty sure my fucking Deer game was on that past thing.
The Games Pass, they're
Back
really
to
relying.
The Woods, I think it's called.
They're really relying on Game Pass.
But I had the same feeling. It was basically, it seemed like they're whetting your appetite with a couple things that you have to bite on, like Gears of War, like Halo, and then really what they're trying to sell you is Scarlet. And that was the thing I was very curious about it after watching a video on the Google gaming system and the theory behind how that's going to function. And so it seems like this is Microsoft just trying to dominate that market and basically take their stand in the streaming world. And I think like that
right now they are. Right now they are.
The whole conference, right? Like to me, a lot of the conference was, hey, we got some stuff for you to keep you on hold, but look at the next gen. And they really are trying to look at the next gen. And that's
it's not really next gen. It's just kind of like they're trying to push the future of gaming to streaming.
So that's what next generation.
This is like the beginning of the games as a service arms race. Like the real first push into making that.
Well, it's going to become a lot different with everything cloud-based. There's going to be massive updates to how much we can do with any one device. But it's going to be, I think, piecemeal in little parts. You're going to be buying much smaller segments of things, and it's going to be a little more of like a subscription. You might like subscribe to like cloud gaming, and then you can access whatever's there and play it on your devices. But
I'm like not that into that idea of like of the gaming industry though. I don't want to feel like I'd love to play that, but I'm
guys,
on Netflix.
I'm gonna cut you guys off real quick. We are now going to feature Max's opinion. Oh, fuck. We already did that. We already did Max's.
We'll feature Casey's opinion.
Oops. We are now going to feature Casey's opinion for overall pros and cons of E3.
Hey, guys. All right, so my pros and cons here at E3. I am definitely really hyped for the Final Fantasy VII remake coming up. I am a little bit skeptical on the episodics. I know a lot of people are talking about it. Just like them saying that the first part that they're releasing is the Midgar part, and it's going to be on 2 Blu-ray discs. That's kind of big for like a 5-hour part of the Final Fantasy VII, but it does look great. And I do believe that Square Enix actually had the best opening of everybody at conference. I mean, I love that they brought in the Final Fantasy VII screen with new game, continue, and that just hit nostalgia for me. For like Nintendo, I'm definitely a huge Smash Brothers fan, and I can't wait to play Banjo and Kazooie. I am a little bit afraid of how they might be implemented, but I've never been sorely sad about anything when it comes to Smash Brothers. As for Xbox, I'm definitely looking forward to Phantasy Star Online 2. I used to play that when it was on like Dreamcast, so now being able to go back to it and kind of relive into that nostalgia phase of an old system that's no longer available, I'm just really looking forward to it. However, I do have to say that when it comes to the streaming devices, that's where my cons are coming. I am kind of afraid of the streaming coming in, and everybody going to streaming and different subscriptions. I don't want to have to keep bouncing back and forth. I don't know if that's what they're going to do. I'm also kind of afraid on the hardware aspect, because if they are going to go to streaming, if they are going to go to cloud, it's going to be really rough on the servers if they're not prepared. Kind of the same thing of when Netflix and them came up. If a lot of people are going for the same game and trying to go at the same game, it could cause some, I guess, holdups when you're trying to get to that game. As well as just everybody going over to mobile. I don't necessarily know how I feel about that. I am looking forward to Commander Keen. But for Orion and being able to play Doom on like the Orion, I'm honestly not really sure how it's going to go about. I don't know if we have the technology yet. I am hopeful though, because that would honestly be really cool, kind of going into that gaming aspect. And I just have to say that I'm definitely looking forward to Ghost Rider. Wow, I can't even talk. Ghost Rider, thank you.
Is it Ghostwire? I think so.
Ghost Rider Tokyo.
Yeah, it should be. It better be, right?
Technical difficulties. Definitely looking forward to Ghostwire Tokyo. I like the look of it. I'm just wondering what's the gameplay going to be like, and that's also another big thing is they didn't really show that much gameplay. I want them to show more gameplay. I'm interested in all these teaser trailers, but I want to see these games in action. So that's all I have to say about it. I do hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely know I enjoyed most of the aspects of E3, and I can't wait to find out what's going to happen next year.
All right, great. So, I'm gonna cut you guys off at Microsoft. So we're gonna move on to Bethesda, and I know you guys have very strong opinions about Bethesda.
I want to keep mine minimal just because we will talk about it.
I won't get into too much.
So I was okay with Bethesda. See, I think that I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt just because I have been a fan of Bethesda for a long time, and I do like their games. But the thing is, I like their main entry games like Fallout, Elder Scrolls, things like that. So right now, although nothing new was presented there, I was happy that they came out and they said, look, we messed up with the release of Fallout 76. We have been making it better, which it's my understanding that they have been making it better.
With
and
the new NPCs.
And all of their and I know that we had this discussion earlier this week. The thing is that it is essentially an MMORPG, quote unquote. And in those kinds of things, you have to create an ever evolving world. And what's great, as most games and most companies, they're going to make you buy it. They have been giving it away for free, which I think is great. They're trying to save face, and I think that they're doing.
I thought that was a really good decision. To say free.
Yeah. So, and I think, and I think that I know that you guys have some opinions about Bethesda and things like that. I do think that regardless of what their end goal is, I do think that in this moment, that it is the right thing to do. That they are coming out, admitting that they messed up, and that they're giving away a bunch of the Fallout 76 stuff away for free. And I am actually excited to start playing Fallout 76 again because of these updates that are coming later this year. Overall, though, once again, it was still an underwhelming, in my opinion. Even though, I personally think that it was better than some of the other ones, it was still very underwhelming. There wasn't a whole lot going on. They did say, okay, we're still working on Starfield, we're still working on Elder Scrolls 6, but here's some stuff from our other companies.
That was what I was caught most attention. My attention was the sub-genre stuff. I feel like in a lot of regards, they kind of put their worst foot forward first, and they went ahead and apologized. They went ahead and showed off some things they had for Blades and some stuff, kind of some stuff that wasn't brand new content, but that was more updates or refinishing. And then they pulled out their better foot, which they had right there, which was they had the new Doom game, which does look sick as fuck, even though I'm not a massive Doom player. Wolfenstein's produced the same people, right?
It's produced. It's produced by a different. It's produced by. It's just published through Bethesda.
Yeah. But I was making sure I was want to mess up. They were at the same showcase basically, and I saw the Wolfenstein stuff, and I was stoked by the Wolfenstein guys, not only because they're pro blast and Nazis, but they did seem just really enthusiastic about their game and the dual element of playing both people. So I was actually really pleased by the lower end of Bethesda, or not lower end, but the subgenre of Bethesda stuff. One more I wanted to say to announce Rage 2. I thought Rage 2 looked very visually pleasing, so I thought all of their subgenre shooters were like actually looking kick-ass.
Yeah.
It looked great. Rage looked great. Wolfenstein looked great.
And Doom Eternal looks great.
And
yeah.
so it's like, so that was what I would say is they really lost me first half of the showcase, and then they brought me back in with more interest second half of the showcase, and then Tokyo Ghostwire or Ghostwire Tokyo also looks really fucking interesting.
Yeah.
Even though there was no great reveal of gameplay yet, they definitely caught my attention, and I was like, want to watch that in the future, want to see what this is about.
I will. In my opinion, I don't think that game's going to come out for at least 2 years.
Yeah. I got the impression it's down the road.
Definitely, that seems like it's going to be like a next-gen kind of type of game. But what you're saying, it looks freaking amazing. Like, when I was watching it at first, I thought that they were live action, and they were actual people. I'm just sitting here like, cool. No, wait, these are computer generated. Though the one game that I'm kind of interested in is Commander Veer. It's that mobile game with the two twins.
Oh, Commander Keen.
Keen, thank
That's
you.
right.
Wow, where was I coming in with Veer? Yeah, Commander Keen.
Commander Keen did look in. Like, I don't even know if I'd play it, but I was like, what a brilliant idea for a game, right?
They lost me once they actually showed the footage of the gameplay.
I
I was like,
thought the
okay,
concept
you're going to
was
make
cool.
a game that's like a Saturday morning cartoon. This could be interesting. But then I looked at the gameplay and I was like, this looks very standard mobile game.
It is. I thought the idea, though, was great. Like, honestly, I wish that idea had been pushed a few years
Well, it's
previous.
an old idea. Commander Keen is an old franchise.
Oh, okay. So they have
from what I
it's just
understand,
coming- just
he's a
coming in-
returning
Yeah.
character.
It's just coming into the foreground.
Well,
Well, I was like, that
the
idea
whole-
of the Saturday morning cartoon to game combo, kind of cool.
The whole thing
Yes.
I do remember is that the original Commander Keen, this is like their father or grandfather or something. And so they're kind of like
It's like the
taking up the role.
That's cool.
The way it looked like to me, though, is it seemed kind of like a click and point adventure kind of title, which I love. And so I'm just like, okay, you know what? It might be a mobile game, but I do want to try it when it does come out.
All right.
Well, and, sorry, one more thing to say.
Okay.
Mobile is going to become important with the cloud streaming gaming because mobile games will essentially become as good as an Xbox game when that
Just
comes
tiny.
to fruition down the road. So I think it's like, it is kind of cool to watch the direction they're heading, even if most of them are kind of like, whatever. You know?
Anybody have anything else to say about Bethesda? You're gonna save yours for your.
Yeah.
Okay. No problem. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Way into them serious.
with that being said, we are now moving on to Ian's thoughts on E3 this year.
All right, so my impressions of E3 overall in general, I guess that's what I'll start with first. I thought that there was a lot of cool stuff being shown, but that the foreground of the conference really was to prep everyone for this whole new generation of gaming that's going to come out with cloud streaming. I feel like most of the presenters, especially the ones that had some sort of cloud streaming format in mind, that was really what they wanted you to catch in the main view. And they were kind of offering you bits of things that you enjoy as almost like incitement. Like, hey, look, we're going to give you a couple of these good things that you like, but you're going to have to come back for when we really release all the titles that you wanted and when we really release all our new stuff in this next new environment that's going to be available on mobile device and laptop and on the console and whatever you play. You're going to be able to play anything in the highest fidelity on any device. And that was just a major theme of the whole conference. So I will say that they seemed like they were putting that whole idea forward, and that the games took a back seat, which not so pleasing for me, but I can definitely see what the intention was behind that, and that's probably where the general buzz, sort of to speak, around E3 being underwhelming came from, and then they unfortunately didn't deliver much past that. So not to put the conference down entirely, but I felt that that was definitely where the attention was centered, maybe not the best choice. In terms of what I saw that was really pleasing to me, obviously Watch Dogs Legion is where I'm at, that's what I'm going to be playing. Just in my thoughts when it comes to game world and design and building, the abilities you have to recruit from anybody, the way the world looked, the way the interactions functioned. I'm kind of a big anti-authority person in general, so the message of the game morality, the whole concept of that you, the people, are taking back the streets. It's like, they had a great feel going on, and they totally won me with their character dynamics, how the characters have massive differences, not only in their personalities and backgrounds, but in how they move. And I thought the old lady assassin just stole the whole show. And so I was majorly hyped for that. And then also out of Ubisoft came the Assassin's Creed Story Builder, which I think falls in the same ilk of things that really give power back to the players to control not only the gameplay experience, but the story that they're playing in. I'm personally really excited to make a story in the Assassin's Creed Story Maker. I want to check out some of the other ones, even though I've never really played Assassin's Creed. So those two things were definitely forefront of my mind, and I guess that's all Ubisoft stuff. I don't want to say Ubisoft was the best presenter. I thought Xbox and Microsoft together actually did a really great job of showing off that they had quite a lot in pocket while giving you the whole idea of we are forefront of the streaming world, where they have a big presentation on Scarlet and all that sort of stuff. They're not lagging behind in any sense. But they actually gave you quite a bit of stuff, even though a lot of it was, underwhelming, not exactly what everyone wanted, maybe not quite the releases that were expected. But overall, I would say that Ubisoft had what I was looking for the most, even if they didn't have the best showcase overall. Microsoft might have had the most overall appealing showcase. And then, I, not being a major Nintendo fan, didn't watch a lot of the releases, but I did think that the new Smash Bros. Looked cool. I've always played that with friends. So overall, in general, I thought there was quite a few cool games looking forward, not only for me as an individual who I'm like, I want these particular ones, but I think everyone could find something that they really would enjoy and would want to play. And then as a last side note, there's even a bunch of little nuance games like the Back to the Woods games, like it's called, with the deer, where you're one deer leading another, that I thought just looked very pleasing, and they had this sort of like almost like carryover essence of games that we used to play back in the day as children. So they did bring a lot to the table that I thought was cool in every showcase. My one big gripe, and I'll save it for the end just now, is with Bethesda. While I did like their lower-end presentations from kind of their subordinate companies, I thought all those were strong. Bethesda has majorly lost me in the last couple of years with the way they work as a corporation. And what I saw coming out of amenities for Fallout 76 were not sufficient to make up for what I thought the poor release was. But other than that, my overall impression of the conference, I'd say I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It didn't blow my mind, but it was certainly nothing terrible.
And we're back. Okay, so the next up, and so next up is we'll just kind of couple them together, is Ubisoft and Square Enix. So I'm going to go ahead and start this off. Ubisoft, I think Ubisoft did a good job. They showcased some really cool stuff, but in my personal opinion, nothing was really exciting for that. They did announce some new stuff for The Division 2, which is great. They had John Bernthal come out for Ghost Recon. They're just showcasing a ton of Tom Clancy games, and I think that has a lot to do with not. There is no new Assassin's Creed coming out this year, nor is there a new Far Cry coming out this year. So it was. I feel like their presentation was really good. However, those aren't particularly games that I play all the time, so it wasn't necessarily something that I wholeheartedly
They didn't
paid.
cater to what you're after.
They didn't wholeheartedly kind of like, it didn't really like phase me that much. So and now with Square Enix, however, I did enjoy Square Enix's showcase. We finally got to see more, and we got a release date for Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is great. Another highlight for that was the Final Fantasy VIII is getting remastered. And I think the big one that I think a lot of people were looking forward to was the Avengers game, and that felt very, very short to me. It looks really silly. I don't like. Yeah, not a great fan. But I am excited to see what they will bring to PlayStation users, because they did say that PlayStation users are going to get some cool stuff, and I'm really hoping that the cool stuff is the inclusion of Insomniacs Spider-Man, which I think that would be really, really cool if they included that.
I just need to see more gameplay on Avengers, because it looked like they were showing me a linear level with set action buttons is what it looked like to me. Like when Hulk picks up the tank and the guy falls out, that was clearly scripted. Yeah. That's not going to happen every time you push that button. So it's just comes down to like, I got to see gameplay. Mm-hmm. Even if it looks a little wonky, if the gameplay is solid per character, then I'm mildly excited. But they didn't show enough for sure. You were gonna say something, Casey?
I was just gonna say, like, after watching E3, I finally realized that I need to get a PlayStation and I need to get a Switch so that way I can play some of these games.
Right.
Well, that just goes to show, our one Xbox guy's converting.
We got you. You're over here on Team PlayStation now.
What do you guys think of Ubisoft?
I will let you guys kind of tear more into Square Enix, because to be honest, I didn't really catch that much in the Square Enix conference that was like resonating with me, and so my memory's a little hazy.
You
but
also never
Ubisoft,
played FF7.
Yeah, I never played.
So I've never played Final Fantasy VII either, and I'm gonna play play it.
Outcast.
I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna download it tonight.
download
I'm gonna
tonight.
go home and download it tonight and start playing it after I've beaten Days Gone.
It's worth a play.
Oh, no, I
Yeah,
understand
it
that.
really
Yeah,
is.
Final Fantasy 7's always been recommended by everyone. That's like the one you mentioned. You haven't played Final Fantasy 7. People just turn their backs on you. And walk
I know,
out.
right?
Yeah.
I got torn a new asshole on Instagram today.
Are
Just-
you even a gamer?
I know,
Your
right?
parents will abandon you. Girls will just get out of bed and walk away. Don't mention that shit.
Does anybody else have anything more to say?
So
about...
Ubisoft, I will say really quick. Ubisoft fucking blew my mind with that Watch Dogs 2 shit. And
Yeah.
I am
No, it's Watch Dogs 3. No, Watch Dogs Legion.
Legions, yeah, Watch
Watch
Dogs
Dogs
Legion.
Legion.
And man, I am so anticipating this game. They stole the conference from me in my mind with that old lady actions thing. Just the fact that they were showing that they were putting different physical mechanics per body style per character in the game, and on top of the amount of diversity and type of world they created,
And perma-character
yeah,
death.
no, dude, they fucking stole the show from me, and that was like, and that saved me honestly from hating their showcase.
Yeah.
Because I thought their presentation was abysmal. They were out weird
I don't
dancers.
know.
at some
I thought
point,
their
but,
their
like,
presentation was really good.
it threw me for a
I
loop.
felt like it was just consistent throughout. There was
Yeah.
no like lull, in my opinion.
See, they threw me for a loop. They had these like dancers come out at one point, and I was like, "Why are these guys dancing on stage?" And then they had Now I thought it was cool. They had the Assassin's Creed Orchestra. I liked that. And then I was also had my fucking mind blown by the Assassin's Creed Story Writer mode, because I haven't seen anything that creative come out of gaming for the individual player to develop a world in years. It's been years since we've gotten those world builder kind of things to that level. So I was like majorly hyped for that. I thought the exploration mode was very cool, even though I didn't think I'd ever play it. I was like, what a fun thing. I mean, like, you could even set that up in classrooms and shit. It's like kids explore ancient Egypt, and like, there was fun stuff, but they kind of fell off the wagon for me with Tom Clancy. I don't play a lot of Rainbow Six, even though I have played it. I don't play a lot of Tom Clancy titles in general, even though I've played some. Haven't played Ghost Recon in years. And they stacked it in a way that I couldn't tell which game was which.
Oh yeah.
And so, so while I am definitely excited to play some of these games when I go over to a friend's house, I wasn't really seeing anything that I'm like, must have after Watch Dogs 2 and Assassin's Creed. But honestly, I'm going to buy Assassin's Creed for the Story Maker.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to pre-order Watch Dogs 2 because fuck, I'm playing that shit.
All right, cool. So unless anybody else has anything to say about Ubisoft or Square Enix, I will. Okay, I'll wrap things up with Square Enix real quick.
Yeah, we haven't talked FF7.
Yeah, I think we should talk more about Final Fantasy VII a little bit more after like more of us have played it. I think we should do that. I think we should have an episode dedicated to Final Fantasy and some of their games. But I will say this: I am actually really excited for Final Fantasy VII. Some people are very concerned about its episodic structure, but we have yet to find out exactly how they're going to do that. If we have to pay for each episode, or if we just get or when we buy it, we just get access to all the episodes when they release. We'll find more about. Find out.
Please, God, let you retain levels between episodes. If it
I'm
does
sure,
a weird.
I'm sure it will be. Okay, I'm sure it's going to be fine. So, so with that being said, it is now what I thought about E3 this year. E3 for me this year was rather underwhelming. It wasn't. All week I've been kind of telling my friends that E3 sucked, but I think that's just the wrong word. It was underwhelming. There wasn't a lot going on. But there were definitely some positives, and I think just to kind of get through a couple of the positives, I am really looking forward to Cyberpunk 2077. I'm glad that they finally gave a release date for that. I saw the first trailer I ever saw for it was back in 2012, so that gives an idea of how long this game has been in development for. So to see that it is finally coming out, within the next year is exciting. On the note of Cyberpunk 2077, though, in my opinion, it is a weird pro and a con. Was the fact that Keanu Reeves is in the game. It's a pro because that's really dope. Keanu Reeves, he's kind of created this persona of being like the Hollywood, the good guy. He seems to be a really nice person, and he does a lot of things. He's really fan accessible. He loves doing his job. However, it is a concern of mine that are they using his star power to sell the game? Now, I know that CD Projekt Red has a really great reputation, and that there's probably nothing to worry about. However, something like this does somewhat cause a concern for me, but we'll see when that comes to launch. So another positive that I had was that even though all my buddies don't like Bethesda, I am a big Bethesda fan. They haven't really stirred me wrong personally. Fallout 76 did have a rough launch, I will say that. However, they have been making slowly but surely improvements on the game. and I'm really excited for the release of the new stuff that's coming out later this year with Nuclear Winter and Wastelanders, where they're finally bringing human NPCs into the wasteland, which is great. Another thing too that I'm really stoked about is Final Fantasy VII, the remake. I am curious to see how they're going to approach that, because it is episodic. I'm curious if each episode you have to pay for, or if it all is included and it's just going to get trickled in later as the episodes come out. We'll have to see. That is also like a con too. Is like they didn't give much information about like how they're going to release it and if you have to pay for each one. We just know that the first part that comes on 2 Blu-ray discs is out next March. Some other cons for me were the fact that there was a lot of cinematic trailers. Now, I know that early development games, all they can really show are cinematic trailers because the gameplay is just not there to show. And I get that, I understand that, but I do feel like there was just so many cinematic trailers and not a lot of trailers for with gameplay in them. Another before I get to my last pro, because I want to end this on a pro, one other con, and it's a big con for me. I am so bummed out that they did not announce a new Resident Evil game. Capcom did not really have any kind of presence at all at E3 this year, and I was so bummed out. Resident Evil 2 Remake was so good, and I really want to see a Resident Evil 3 remake. I know it's rumored that it is in development, but I want to see something for it so bad. Con, and I'm a big Star Wars fan, so I am actually really excited for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. I loved Star Wars games where you can just run around with a lightsaber and kill things. The last game to have that was The Force Unleashed in my opinion. So I am actually really stoked to see what EA is doing with Jedi Fallen Order. All right, thank you very much. All right, and we're back. We're gonna be wrapping it up real quick. We'll wrap it up with Nintendo. So Nintendo had their stuff yesterday and today. Unfortunately, what sucks is like I have to work during a lot of this stuff, so I try to have it running in the background. To me, I think the stuff that stood out for me with Nintendo was the fact that I think the big thing with Nintendo this year has been Smash Ultimate. They introduced new fighters, they introduced the Dragon Quest characters, and they introduced Banjo-Kazooie coming to Smash.
Which, by the way, I just loved how they presented it with Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong and King K. Rool, where just like you see a shadow, but it's not Banjo-Kazooie, and then they just fall on top of him.
But like I think the big thing that Nintendo also has going for them this year is the new Pokemon game. I am buying a Switch personally to get the Pokemon game because I am excited. I love
excited, but I really don't want to recatch all my goddamn Pokemon.
do you have the older games?
Not anymore. I've lost all my
because they're creating
systems.
they're creating a cloud service to store all your Pokemon on,
So
to
you
where
don't lose them
so you don't
anymore.
ever
All
lose them.
800 plus Pokemon now.
Yeah, I know, right?
We'll say
I'm glad
Nintendo
that
plays very close to the. Sorry to cut you off. What you were saying?
I'm just glad that they're gonna make like a cloud system for catching Pokemon, because that was in old school Pokemon one of the like most stressful things.
Yeah.
Was trying to like if you actually wanted to have them all on one game file, that is so hard to do.
Yeah.
You need to know somebody that had the separate game, that had a link
Or you need
cable.
multiple systems so that you can plug the same one into different files to get the first Pokemon, so that you can erase that file. Anyway, Ian, you were saying.
Just really quick, Nintendo seems to play very close to the cuff. They always tend to release titles that are very like their progression in series is always very close. It seems like, this is just my personal opinion, but it seems like they're never reaching super far. They're always kind of playing off what they already know people enjoy, and I actually appreciate that from Nintendo.
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel like
definitely.
every time they're giving me what I want to play, even though I don't play on Nintendo, I always know what to expect.
So, and I think so, and we will go ahead and wrap this up. But I will say we almost forgot that there is a Breath of the Wild 2 coming out, or a sequel to Breath of the Wild. So,
And actually,
Another Zelda.
before you do your wrap, there is one other game that Nintendo is releasing that millions of people have been waiting for. No More Heroes 3.
oh, really?
They did announce that.
Nice.
It is coming out.
Talk about it for a sec. I didn't see this at all.
They did just a little bit on it, but it was stated that they are working on No More Heroes 3. It has been announced. I myself, I wasn't able to catch the entire thing, but I am super stoked. I played No More Heroes. It was hilarious. It was great, and it was so bloody and just it's just assassin-y, and
Okay,
I
so
don't know how else to.
So this is kind of a little more balanced than an average Nintendo game, huh?
Oh yeah, no, like the creator of this game, I can't think of his name right now. He's like known for doing like these
It's
off
Pseudo,
the wall
right?
pseudo. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's from Pseudo.
okay.
He's known for doing like off the wall
Lollipop Chainsaw.
stuff. Yep.
Yeah,
Lollipop
that's
Chainsaw.
actually, I'm
was
kind
another
of
one.
curious.
So, okay, so some of us have to get going. So that is it for our post E3 LAN Party Show episode. So look out for new episodes of the LAN Party Show starting. We're gonna be releasing them on the second and last weekend of each month going forward. So I look forward to seeing everybody, and don't forget to follow Work in Progress Media. I need to put a link in in this video, and also please check out LAN Party Entertainment on Instagram at LAN Party Entertainment and LAN Party Entertainment at Twitter at LP Entertain. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next time.
Give us the likes, yo.
And happy gaming, and see you all soon.
Bye.